Hi guys, this is Adam. Look at this beautiful flower. This is a wild gladioli. I think it's called Gladiolus italicus in Latin, but I might be wrong, but I think it's that. This is the ancestral plant of the gladioli, which are in lots of European gardens and American gardens. And talking about flower arranging, I would love to pick that and make a flower arrangement with it, but what do you reckon? How many others are around here? I know it's a rare plant. If I pick this, it would be unbelievably cruel and not a nice thing to do whatsoever. So I'm not going to pick it and just appreciate it, enjoy it there. Because part of what we're doing, if we're collecting plants to make flower arrangements or anything else, is doing it responsibly and trying to think about the individual plant, the population of plants, and the ecosystem, the environment as a whole. And this is an unusual plant. In Italy, there's some areas where it's more common and some where it's less. In this area, it's quite difficult to see. The first time I ever came to this area, 20 years ago, I saw this and I was just so amazed because I knew the garden variety that's been bred and is much bigger and showier flowers. But I recognized it was gladiola and I looked it up and sure enough. So, something that's special and rare, and you can, in this case, you can see, okay, you can't tell it was rare. Rare means there's not many of them, they're more likely to become extinct or they're endangered. But you can kind of, even if you don't know what it is, you can see there's only one here. So if you picked it, that would be like almost, well, it would be a crime because I think it's a protected species in Italy, so it would literally be a crime, but it would also be ethically or morally not a nice thing to do. Whereas look at this here. This is a different kind of plant. Doesn't really matter what it is, but it's a kind of oxalis. There's a few here. I could responsibly maybe take, in fact I will, I'll take these ones that haven't opened yet. I'll clip it down. I'm not going to hurt the plant. Because all this with these nice kind of trifoliate leaves is the plant itself. I'm going to take a few and I'm going to take the ones with the closed buds. I think that's enough. I'll take one more to make three because it's better in threes than in twos. Look, it's hardly changed what's happening here, and it's quite a common plant. You see there's more of it up there, it's up there. And this I'll take carefully and I'll put it in a vase. A little, obviously what kind of size? It's going to be a tiny arrangement, but sometimes tiny arrangements are beautiful. So, think about it before you pick it. Arrangements can be big or they can be tiny. And what I'm showing you now is they can be simple. In fact, they often, certainly if you're looking at some of the Asian traditions, like Ikebana and stuff, the more simple and refined the arrangement, the more pure and the more beautiful. And part of that is not overdoing, not putting too much stuff. Look, one flower. One flower. This is a clematis. It's called Nelimosa was the variety. This is from the garden over there. One flower. Now, of course, I put these things outside here. Inside, I'm putting them very specifically according to where the light comes in from the window in the east in the morning to catch the light, you know, or where what they do with the space. Because flower arranging is not just about color. It certainly is about color, but it can be about form and about composition and about balance. Like this one here. Again, these are all simple composition, one kind of thing. This is just one, this is a sedge. It's like a kind of grass. This is a sedge. But the composition with this, again, this is an old oil bottle that most people would just throw away. I just like the shape. It's a very elegant composition. There's certainly, this is like in thirds. Look, third, 2/3, in thirds. So you can think about, when you're thinking about flower arranging, you're thinking about all aspects of design. So if you're interested in architecture, or you're interested in some of those things that look at geometry and balance and design, whether it's music or art or whatever it is, but especially things like architecture or garden design. I studied garden design. You can learn so much from doing flower arrangements about design principles that then you can scale up or you can take to be something much more dramatic, like a whole landscape or a house, or a workplace, or a living place, or a city, or a, you know what I mean? Architecture. So what I've been talking about today is all over the place, but basically what I'm trying to say is we've got to think about the scale of the thing. Now sometimes you can use a tiny thing like this in a big space and it gets completely lost, and maybe that's what you want. Or maybe you can have a tiny room with an enormous flower arrangement, and maybe that's what you want. But you should think about the scale of your arrangements. Then you should think about the materials. There's a whole thing here. All of the materials, all the plants I'm using are just simple. They're one kind of thing, but but the way that they're displayed helps to show off and highlight the features of that particular plant that I want to emphasize. Like in this, especially if it's on a black background like that, it's showing really clearly that flower. Even though this flower is damaged, if you look, it's missing a petal and it's all been bitten and gobbled up. But that kind of makes it beautiful. It's not perfect. You see there's a hole here. But that's okay. And this stone is kind of a bit dirty, but that's all right. That imperfection is something beautiful. And that flower is beautiful. And the way that I put it on that, you see look at the balance, look at the shape, look at the way it's holding that space, right? And this is just I put on the table. This was inside before. But so I'm looking at space. I'm looking at positive space, the way something fills the space, and the way that when something fills the space, it leaves emptiness. And the emptiness, especially in flower arrangements, often says more than what you're filling with the material. So you've got to think about the space around the form. Really become aware of that. Like this, you know, when I look at it, it's like way too busy. It'd be much better like to take that one out, right? Look at that, that's already looking better. Too busy. I would like, part of what you're doing is you're trying to look with an eye. Like this leaf here, look, oh that's nice, it's just twisted. Before it was this way, not so nice, and then it twists, look, by itself, right? I just give it a little helping hand. Change the position, and there, this composition now is classical, beautiful. And it's just two pieces of grass chucked in a vase, right? So, when I collect the material, when I saw these, I already saw how they could look. I didn't know about this particular vase, but I could see this beauty of this plant itself is what I highlight. I didn't make that beauty, I'm just displaying it. I'm just showcasing it in its container. So anyway, today I've talked about quite a lot of stuff, and I'm going to talk about more another time. But just actually starting to show you some simple compositions. All of these compositions are using one kind of material, one kind of plant. This is with roses, this is with lobelia, this is with poppies, this is with the sedge, and this is with the clematis. As we go on, I'm going to start talking about how you can start to combine materials and get more exciting palettes involved. But we'll do that another time, and I'll take you out because now I'm at home. But maybe we'll go for some walks and we'll actually gather some materials together and arrange them together. Okay? Take it easy, guys. Hey guys, I'm talking about flower arranging, although like I've said at the beginning, flower arranging doesn't necessarily have to use flowers. But check this out. Old wine bottle, 2 pieces of tortured hazel, it's called. And they were just branches that I found from someone who pruned a tree, and I kept them and I put them in there, and just look at the timing. The sun's in exactly the right position where look at the shadow on this, and look at, so the flower arrangement's this, but look at the way just at this moment in the day, 10 minutes ago, no, 5 minutes later from now it won't be. Right now the shadow and the position of the sun has created this incredible effect on here with the Buddha statue down beneath and the plants that are growing over here. But my arrangement is calling attention not just to the arrangement, which has got certain balance, it's very simple, nothing particularly interesting, but it has a certain balance and a certain dynamic movement about it. You can feel that there's lots of rounds going on, right? Swirly round stuff. But the way that now this shadow has taken the thing into a whole nother dimension, certainly from my eye, and connected my arrangement to what's going on in the world right now at this moment in time, in terms of the sun's position, in terms of the season. Because this here, this is a agapanthus. I think it's, no, it's not agapanthus. It's daylily, it's called. Hemerocallis. There were no leaves here like 2 weeks ago. They've only just come up. And the way that they just touched the shadow there, well, you can see. And then there's that funny thing hanging there that I put there before. So again, flower arrangement, but in this case using bits of wood and a bottle.
Take it easy, guys.